Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 125 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, it's website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing. We can absolutely help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. Request a free review of your entire online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. Welcome back, everybody. We got not Bo behind the camera. Bo's off to the side over here. I got a little audience now. It's kind of cool. Bo still shows up for the recordings. We got Christian actually behind the cameras over here. Ben's back there somewhere as well. So we got a nice little team going here. We're super happy and yeah, it's been kind of cool in the new studio, right? It's different. But I like it, so it's we're having fun. Don't forget to like, comment, download, share, click that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. Joining us today is Malachy Friedman. He's a second-degree black belt under ATT founder Ricardo Liborio. We'll do a few quick shout-outs, and then we'll get him in here. So thank you to our friends over at Fro and Roll. I did it again. See, I get friends at Fro and Roll. The friends gets me every time with Flow and Roll. Hands down, the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. I got one of their shirts on today. I love them. Don't believe us? Visit them on Instagram at flowandroll.com, or excuse me, flow_n_roll, and check out all their custom designs. Bo's got a shirt on. He's over there going like this. Look at me. I got a shirt on too. They create really cool custom designs for academies across the country. They're very much known for their pre-order program. So what does that mean? You can actually, if you're a new gym owner or you're an existing gym owner and you want to stock up, he'll put your stuff online. He'll do the designs, put your gis, no gi kits online. The orders wind up paying for even the stock that you're going to keep for the gym. So I'll let him explain it to you. You can reach out to them at flowandroll@gmail.com or just go to their website, flowandroll.com. And then if you order anything online, you get 20% off with code JJD. Okay. Shout out to our friends over at Neutral Zone. Neutral Zone Clean. It's a clean day or is it a CBD? It's clean, right? Yeah, we do every other episode. Neutral Zone Clean. I just cleaned my my headset with the wipes, right? So staying clean on or off the mat. Post-COVID, we're always worried about, staff and COVID itself, right? We're just worried about all those things. So I think more people are, even when we ask our belt washing question, Bo, right? More people are saying that they're like, well, I didn't used to wash it. Now I wash my belt, right? So look, it's all about staying clean on and off the mat. Check them out at neutralzoneclean.com and use code JJD for 20% off. I said 25% off the last. It's 20. I believe it's 20% for clean, right? Or is it 25? 25 for clean?
It was 15 originally.
It was 15 originally. I think it's 20 or 25%. Go check them out. Leo Optics. Where are my sunglasses? I love my Leo Optics. My bamboo sunglasses. I have them out because I do actually wear these on the way to the show. So these are my favorite glasses. It's actually like wood with bamboo. You can request the little stripe. I am not a black belt. He sent me this with the red stripe, which usually signifies a black belt. You can request your belt rank as this. They'll put the stripe. He actually does them individually when you order. So check out leooptics.com and use code JJD for 10% off. Also, thank you to Bioprotein Technology. That's these guys right here. See, look, I'm getting all buff, Bo. Look, sorry, a little bit, right? I like Kristen trying to yeah, Kristen, cut to that. Right? I got to get my progress down. Definitely, since I've been taking, I've gone back to my one day on, one day off, like one day jiu-jitsu, one day weight training. And if I can get weight training in during the day early, then I will also get to jiu-jitsu at night. So I think not only has it been helping me, but it's also made me more conscious of actually getting back to the gym and weight training. So really cool. I'm probably not going to do it justice, but this is considered a bioidentical alternative to human growth hormone. Contains genetically activated growth factors that support DNA repair, regenerate cells, and helps to balance healthy hormones in both men and women. I believe Malachy works with them as well, so I will talk to him about it maybe later in the show. All of this is with no needles, no side effects, so you can check them out at bioproteintech.com. You get $30 off with code JJD on any of their regularly priced kits. I'm actually taking this one. I got to bring in the other box, and I also take the one that you take at night. It's got like a cortisol in it. So I am taking this one in the morning, and then I take that one at night before I go to bed. That's it. We did it. Let's get Malachy in here. Hello, sir. How are you?
How you doing, man?
Good, good. Thank you for being patient, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
So in the intro there, we're going to dive right in. So in the intro, I mentioned Ricardo Liborio. We are in. I live in Coral Springs, which is like a the area. It's like a 1 or 2 towns over from where HQ is. Now that's not where you got your start, but that's where you got your black belt, right? You got your black belt under Liborio.
Right. I joined American Top Team around 2007.
Okay.
And I kind of bumped into Liborio, and that's the guy I wanted to be around.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of know like who you're supposed to be around when you meet that person. I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
And and I ended up getting my I didn't really do the gi until I injured my neck, and MMA was kind of like done.
Yeah.
So like fighting was done. And I couldn't have anybody like snapping on my neck or all the no-gi stuff that just connecting with posture.
Yeah.
I started in the gi and I ended up getting my black belt in 2013.
Okay.
And so I just pretty much went as hard as I could go at the gi in jiu-jitsu. So I was already a jiu-jitsu guy. I didn't understand what people meant to me, like when they were like saying like, "Oh, you don't do jiu-jitsu," like that's what they like. One of my coaches there would say, like, "Oh, you don't do jiu-jitsu."
If you did no gi, they were saying you didn't do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So like, but I kind of get it now. It makes more of an understanding. Oh, I'm out of screen.
That's okay.
Kind of makes it makes more understanding now that what they were talking about before. So yeah, I basically, if there's anything that I do MMA for jiu-jitsu, and I do so that's like my no-gi stuff. And then gi, I'm all gi oriented pretty much for everything else.
Yeah. And for those who don't know who Ricardo Liborio is, I mean, this is like a tremendous badge of honor to have a black belt. I mean, that's like, to have that name on your resume is incredible. I mean, it's not even just part of your lineage. I mean, he's the, you are under him.
I don't think many people can say, you go Lebo, Carlson, Carlos, Maeda.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't go any so you got to really hold the line on that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like the expectation, when you say Ricardo Liborio's name, there's an expectation like, oh, this guy's like jiu-jitsu is legit. Like, oh, this is a different beast. And I mean, just being from ATT alone, I mean, that's a different beast. We interviewed Paul Geller, right? Paul Geller. Do you know Paul Geller? He's an attorney. He trained at American Top Team. He was an attorney that we had on after the whole the Gracie.
It seems familiar, but there's so many ATTs.
No, he was down here. He was down here in
Coconut Creek.
Yeah, in Coconut Creek. He's local. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we had him on after the whole that $65 million case where they awarded that kid that broke his neck. We had him on shortly after that, and he kind of like talked about the case a little bit. But again, he also talked about being there, being under Liborio, and just the fact that it was it's a different beast training there. It's not like it's not for the weak.
No, especially like during the time I did it, being a gringo. And there's you always got like snipers coming in, like and I was good enough. I had a really good friend of mine, Ailton Barbosa, and he would tell me like, hey, this guy's coming for you. Really? And like there'd be like there's some new Brazilian on the mat with a black belt, like just coming in. Maybe he's doing pro fighting, but he's like inching closer, and all of a sudden he's like, as soon as like the technique's over, he's like, hey, you want to train? You're like, yeah, I know. Let's train. Yeah.
That happened a lot. That happens a lot over there.
Oh, well, I don't know what happens now, but I know that happened to me at least every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's again definitely I think there's 2 badges of honor there: training at HQ period, and then getting actually getting your black belt on Liborio. So that's really cool. So go back. You mentioned MMA. You mentioned the fact that you don't train MMA anymore. That you had to did you say you broke your neck, or you had neck surgery?
So I ended up my arm dropped. I lost the disc kind of like burst.
Wow.
And so my whole arm just didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I waited a year trying to get it better. I was training the gi while I was waiting that year. And then I had it fixed, but the neck problems were just so bad. And then all of a sudden I was training again and my other arm dropped. So I had 2 neck surgeries and a lower back surgery. So it was
All
a
of that,
rough
the
deal.
arms dropping, that even the first time happened during training. Were you training and then that happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause one of my
It
worst
sucked.
injuries was a groin injury, and I couldn't figure out where it happened. And I realized I slipped in the shower, and that kept me off the mat for more than a few weeks. That was like my second worst injury besides blowing out my knee. But
I tore my groin too.
it's
And I
the
remember,
worst.
yeah, it's bad, man. Everybody thought it was a contusion in the beginning because it happened from somebody kneeing me in the groin.
Oh,
It actually tore. And then I remember having to go corner a fighter in the UFC, and we're in Vegas and he's in the showers, like in the saunas. And like I remember walking on the wet floor, but like having to do like the tiniest little steps because there wasn't that much stability. Oh yeah, man. It's a terrible injury too, man.
yeah. I didn't realize. I remembered where that I got the injury in the shower when I did it a second time. I'm like, oh, this happened when that last time. So actually, I moved into a new house and it just had like the shower was just slippery after a couple of showers. It didn't have like really good traction. We had to get some mats for it. Didn't realize it, and I just like literally like a big stand up shower. So I had to like it wasn't like I can just brace quickly. It was big, and I was like there was no place to grab.
Yeah.
And then when it happened the second time, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Actually, one of my training partners had bought this little. It almost looks like a jock strap. It's got this little pad that's maybe like a triangular shape, and it just you put it on, and it goes like between your leg, almost like a cup, and it just gives you pressure there. Because that's the thing that helps it, right? Is that when you have that groin injury, if you press it, like especially like you cough or you sneeze, like you're like, oh shit, I had to like put my hand there. Well, it just puts constant pressure. So he was wearing it yesterday, so like still has an ongoing injury. Training through it, but with that pressure on it, you can actually perform. I used it for a little bit, but then I kind of got better, and I'm just started pulling a lot more guard. I just got it on Amazon. I don't even know the name. I could send you a link when we're done.
I mean, whatever happens to me, there's like the injuries never really go away. It just one gets worse than the other.
Yeah.
And so like right now, I don't feel my groin. I feel my lower back and my hip. But I'm guarantee you the moment that my lower back feels better, my groin's gonna hurt.
So
you know what I mean?
I'm going to an orthopedist for my shoulder, and every once in a while I get like I guess it's bursitis, like around the elbows. Like, so I get a lot of pain here. So if this shoulder's hurting and then the bursitis acts up and this hurts more, I don't feel this. And he basically kind of told me something along the lines of like, your brain is really they both hurt. They are both hurting, but your brain is focusing on this basically. So like this is sending signals that this hurts. So as soon as this gets better, you're just feeling this. The pain never went away. It was there, but your brain is just interpreting it in a certain way. So you're only getting the signals from this. So layman explanation there, but that's kind of it. We feel like, my shoulder's better. No, it's still bad. You've got worse pain in other places.
Brain can only concentrate on one bad thing at a time.
I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I've just learned. I mean, I guess I call it the dirty little secret. The dirty little secret is if you do jiu-jitsu long enough, you're going to have a lot of problems. On our last episode, we were talking about kids or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about kids who do like a lot of inversions and like use their feet to get people off of them when they're in the guard. And I'm like, I look at those and I'm just like, man, if this kid keeps on training, he's going to have so many back problems when he's older. And even my coach, like his son has been training since he was in since he could walk. He's 16 now, and he'll yell at him when he inverts. He'll tell him, get off your shoulders, kid, stop. And my coach has got his back is all messed up, and he's been training for 2 decades. So I look at those kids and I'm just like, oh man, I've been training. I started at 41. I'm 50 now. I've been training for 9 years. So like at 41, I could take, was a little bit more athletic, and slowly but surely, little things.
Right.
I don't let them keep me off the mat if I can get onto the mat. I just train through the pain now. I used to tell people, don't do that, get healthy. And now I'm just like, I just don't want to miss. I need the jiu-jitsu more than just for the exercise. I need it for this. I need it for the brain. I need to, for the stress release and relief. So yeah, I train through just my injuries now, but I think I have enough experience to know how to train through it, where I'll pull guard a little bit more. I can, maybe favor one side over another. Okay, this side hurts, so I'll lean to this side, pull guard, make them go to my right. I don't know. It's how long did you take off when you had your injuries?
I mean, like, I can think of so I've just started like positional rolling in the past year.
Okay.
But there was like a year and a half where I wasn't able to train. Like if I did train, I was in such bad shape that I couldn't teach, and it became like a question of like, hey, so like a lot of my training came from teaching. So I was like drilling the moves, using the moves, doing it over and over again, feeling it, but knowing that and then I'll put myself in certain positions with guys that I know. And so I'll be playing, I'm working a lot more on my, the lasso guard, where I just put a lasso in, foot on the hip, and then hand on the collar. And we'll go as live as we can go from those positions until there's a pass or there's a sweep, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that like acknowledgement, whether there's a pass or a sweep, there's not the so I'm one of those guys that's been brought up that winning is everything, like winning is everything.
Even winning practice, even winning in practice.
Yeah. Yes. Even winning in practice. Because oh yeah, you lose in practice. Yeah, I'll try things. I'll make mistakes, but I'll never lose in practice if I can help it. So one of the things is that when I give myself those guidelines that hey, if you start to pass, or hey, if you kill this position, then we start over. It doesn't put me in risk for those hard twisting turns, of trying to get my guard back. You know what I mean? The
scramble. I could look back and say the scramble is usually where I get hurt. The scramble for position is usually where a lot of people get hurt, because that's when you're throwing yourself around, twisting and turning, and then it's just maybe I want to bring that knee with me,
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of cut down the scrambling and just put it as in more of a box, and that's really helped me train more, work out more, try my jiu-jitsu more. So if you get past this parts, you win.
Sure.
And then we restart, and it's really that's the way people should be training anyways. You should be putting yourselves in those positions constantly, and then when something goes wrong, go back to it again, because you're not done. Think about how many times that we're put in that we do half guard, and then somebody passes your half guard, and you never go back to half guard again, right? And you're like, well, I really want to try my half guard, but now I'm stuck in side control. And it's well, then work side control. No, well, sometimes you should be working just your half guard. And you say hey, if you pass my guard, let me get it back. Hey, so it's that continuous training in that one area. And a lot of wrestlers do it, and a lot of other sports do that. And in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like playtime. And if you really want to get good and have a good guard and keep that person in the guard, you need constant reps in that guard.
Sure.
So
I know at my gym on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Friday's a more advanced no-gi class, and my coach is super into Z-guard, lockdown, just different sweeps from the lockdown. So we do a little bit more advanced class, and since last year, I mean, it's all about the Z-guard and all of these, we do all of these crazy sweeps, and letting the leg go from lockdown, but then folding the leg. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is very specifically that, and what it leads to. So it always starts there, right. But we do that. It's positional training. We do 1 hour, unlike a normal weekday hour class where it's 10 minutes of warm-ups, 20 minutes of lessons or learning a move, right? And then we spar. It's 1 hour of positional training, starting from drilling it, then, like you said, fighting out of it, stopping when somebody passes and going back to it. So we've adopted what you just said. We've adopted that. We didn't always do it like that, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's always like that. It's 1 hour, and then even on Saturday and Sunday, we'll go an extra hour of rolling, of an open mat. Yeah. So it's really fun, and I enjoy that more, especially as an older player. Again, it helps with not
how you're going to
Shit.
get better, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trick, is that you get comfortable in a position and then you learn to branch out from that position.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people are like like buckshot. They're all in different areas and they know how to do a mounted arm bar, but they don't know how to pass De La Riva. So that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you got to learn, you got to survive in De La Riva, you got to survive in Spider, you got to survive in these areas long enough to be able to pass them. And then if you can pass them, now you can worry about your arm bar for mount.
Sure.
You know?
So let's talk about the social media side of things for you. Not that there isn't a ton of other things to talk about, but where I discovered you on Instagram and you doing these, like, you know, short, I would say probably under a minute, you know, tutorials of a move, like, you know, things every white belt should know, or different videos. How did that get started for you? Was there intention behind that? I'm going to do this and create this channel, or were you just putting out moves and then it took off?
So for a long time, I was putting out like my own stuff. Like I wasn't having any editing. I wasn't having like any like catch, you know, like catches, like what's it called? Clickbait.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a certain, you know, like when, I mean, it's the truth. If you're a blue belt and it says every blue belt should know this, you're like, oh, let me just check this out.
One of my biggest videos is like everything's something about like white belts, you know, you need to know this, you know, and unintentional. I wasn't clickbait either, you know?
Yeah. So I was putting out my own stuff for a while and I had a pretty good group of followers. I had 30,000 followers. And then I was like, you know what, man, I'm just not making the money that I would like to make. I'm just not, like, I'm getting tired. Like, this is becoming like a chore to shoot, do something. And I was coming out with like crazy stuff too. I was like stuff that I was like, nobody was doing, like, just, I'm like, oh, people are going to love this. And it's like just an insane move and it's getting like no movement. On it, you know? And I realized that, okay, well, most people who are starting most people in jiu-jitsu are new, right? So I was not thinking about them at all. I was thinking about the fancy stuff. And then, so we just kind of got back to the basics. I started working with a company that was shooting, editing, doing the different things for me. And just one day it just shot up. Like I was like watching it, my followers, and it was like 99,000, 90,000. All of a sudden it was like 150, 170, 180, 190. It was like just in one day.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened that day.
Yeah.
And so now I'm sitting around 230 and sometimes I get good feedback on stuff I do. And sometimes like the last technique that I did, which was controlling the back, I thought was like brilliant. And it got just, you know, like,
it's always the one. It's always the one that you just put up or you put very little thought into. And it's just like, oh, that's the one. That's for whatever reason.
Really liking,
yeah.
But the one that I'm like, this is the one that everybody should know because this is a huge detail. And like, I'm thinking like, this will be good. It just turns into crap. And I'm like, I feel like yelling, like reposting and be like, look at this again.
But you know what? That's a technique. That's like a social media technique. And I've done it myself. When I first started like putting out TikTok videos, I was doing it myself. Side note, I own a marketing company, so I kind of do this stuff for clients. You know, it's kind of what's helped the podcast. The marketing experience has helped with this. We weren't, you know, real and social media specific. So I started doing it myself and playing with it. And some of that old stuff that I would cut, I found a little program online that would cut up like I'd upload to YouTube and then download it. And then it would cut it together for me, or cut together like chunks from the episode or suggested snippets, and I would just post those. I've gone back to the very beginning and reposted those, and now they've taken off. Not just because we had more followers, but you know, just different time. Some of them still didn't do well, or ones that did well didn't do as well. But I mean, that's like, you know, I've watched other like content creators outside of jiu-jitsu talk about just reposting it and see what happens. Was it the algorithm? Was it the time of day? You never really know. But it's never, everybody didn't see that video the first time, right? You have so 100%. Many new followers, like, so that you know, some of your initial content, they didn't even see unless they went back through everything. And it's unlikely that they went through everything, you know, so it's not a bad idea to repost. And right, we're always looking for content to post, right? As people that do this,
100%. Yeah.
you know. So yeah, just not a bad idea from just like a marketing perspective or marketing strategy. But you're not just doing the Instagram stuff, right? You're putting out content in other places as well. And I heard you talk about like a website that you're developing to put your content as well.
Yeah, so I have madlabbjj.com.
Okay.
Also, my name, malachyfriedman.com. There's the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And I have pretty much all my lessons that I've taught in my classes edited and uploaded. And then I put them together. Like just putting them up was not the best. Like, cause like people want them in organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, so now I'm organizing small collections of like, okay, Neon Belly stuff. Okay, here's like my next thing that's coming out, I'm doing entries. So like a lot of people have issues with getting into single leg X, or what are the different ways that, like, when something gets killed, where do they go next?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so like so that's, hopefully that'll be done today. That'll be my new collection, will be entries. And a lot of it will be single leg X, but it's like, hey, you're stuck in this position, you want to get a single leg X or X guard, here's 30 different variations of getting into this guard, and when somebody's killing something else. And I think that's really the most important part of jiu-jitsu, is the chaining together safe positions. So I put together so it's madlabbjj.com, and I have like 800 videos on there, but I got a lot of organization.
and that's okay. And that's okay. You talked about your Instagram following. I pulled you up before, and I'm in this world, and again, I do this for clients, so I'm super conscious of like seeing somebody's followers, and I could swear that you were definitely like between 30 and 60, somewhere in that range. I mean, we booked what, more over a month ago, I think, maybe, right? We probably got the set up 3-4 weeks ago at least.
Yeah.
And not saying that at that point, but I know when I started following you, it wasn't at 229. Like, that's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's a huge jump in a short amount of time. So
yeah. From 30, and it took like a 1 month and a half. It was like, it started going 40, 50, and I'm like, it's like ticking slowly. Now it ticks super slow.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, you also don't see it, right? You don't see it unless you go into the analytics to see like what's behind that 229, what?
Yeah, exactly.
100, 700, 900, like, right? You don't see that. So sometimes it feels like it's moving a lot more slowly.
People don't realize this too, that I gain 700 followers a day, but I also lose 300 somehow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That happens.
And I don't understand why they followed me in the first place, because I'm doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Maybe they're upset that I didn't follow them back or something.
That happens with everybody. I mean, when you scale up, I mean, I see that as well. I'm like, again, if you go into the analytics, you'll see what you've gained, what you lost. I mean, somebody could have shut down their page. Maybe it was a bot page that followed you, a lot of times you'll see like all of a sudden like a quick drop. It's like Instagram, even Twitter was doing this. Like they would do like a one-time shutdown of a lot of spam site or bots. Like they'll find them and then they'll just shut them off, and then like you'll see that reflected in the number. I'm super conscious. It's funny because I'm super conscious of people that buy followers as well, because like you can see it. You can see it when it drops. They buy 100,000 followers and then it drops 10 or 20. I'm not going to say the person's name, but I've had a guest on who does it, and I see it. And I can't say he wasn't somebody that was famous in our world, but he was like suggested to come on, and he led to some other bigger guests, so it was great. But I see it like trying to buy clout, right? Yeah. When you've got 200,000 followers, you should be getting a significant amount of likes, comments, share, whatever. You should see that. And when you've got 200,000 followers and in 3 days you've got 2 likes, it's obvious. Like there's certain things besides the fact that you can look at somebody's followers and see, these like weird page names or like no titles and no names. So I again, I'm just it's stupid, but it's like I'm super conscious of it.
So if anybody's thinking about doing that, don't do that.
Yeah, it ruins things. Especially if you're running ads.
You need organic like if you ever want to make any money or you want to have people follow you for real, because then the algorithm doesn't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because these followers have nothing to do with each other, and they're bots, and they're from different countries, they're different things, and you just end up you're better with 30,000 followers that are following you for the pure fact of following you
Yeah.
than 230,000 that are just like garbage.
Fake accounts. Nobody's actually behind them.
The Jiu-Jitsu Dummies would like to congratulate Neutral Zone Clean on the release of their newest product, a healthy and pH-balanced bar soap that's perfect for anyone looking to take care of their skin. This soap is made with all natural ingredients that help nourish and restore your skin's natural barrier. It contains glycerin, which naturally attracts moisture to itself in the skin, leaving it feeling soft and hydrated. The new bar soap also contains a blend of olive, coconut, and castor oils and shea butter, which are rich in vitamins, nutrients, essential fatty acids, and antioxidants that help fight harmful bacteria. With tea tree and other natural ingredients, it also helps in the prevention of fungal infections. Not only is it effective, but it also leaves your skin feeling fresh and lightly scented. It's gentle enough for even the most sensitive skin, making it a perfect choice for the whole family. Be sure to check out their website, neutralzoneclean.com, for a range of all-natural products including sprays, wipes, and shower gels, and use code JJD for 15% off your order. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
And I actually, way back, a long time ago, I had a t-shirt company, my first t-shirt company, and I did, when I first got it onto Instagram, I did it because I'm like, you're getting all those messages, didn't know any better, just didn't understand. I'm like, by follow, of course, let me buy some followers. Yeah. And where it really bit me in the ass was then I started running ads. So, if real people are following me, but whatever, I didn't understand the bots. And then I started running social media ads. It's like, why isn't this stuff converting? Why aren't I getting orders? And then, come to realize, oh, wait, I'm advertising to my followers and friends of those followers. Like that was one of the ad types that I chose, or the targeting that I chose. And then it was going nowhere. It's going to these bots and these other bots and bots, right? So it just, it's kind of, just a waste of time. But, if you do it the right way, well, let me ask this. Instead of making a statement, I'll ask the question. And if you don't mind, you don't have to answer this, but sure. You talked about you said making money, and I think that you meant making money from social media. How are you monetizing? Because they're not paying a lot. I mean, Instagram stopped paying recently. Instagram's
not paying.
Where are you making your money as far as how are you monetizing what you have?
So through my subscription site. Okay. Right. So I see it translated in subscriptions.
Okay.
I see it translated in people that are looking to sponsor me, people that are looking to have me on their shows, people that are looking to have seminars. So like the requests just become bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. And you're like, okay, this is something that I see. Like I don't really travel for seminars, so I don't really make the money there. I'm just one of those guys that just doesn't want to get in a
that's
hotel.
A job in and of itself. I mean, that's a career move.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing, and especially since this life takes most of my life anyway, right? Like jiu-jitsu, the gym, everything takes all my life, and then say, okay, well, on the weekend that you have with your wife, you're going to be in Albuquerque, and you get, it's just like, how am I going to explain this to her? Like, hey, I'm going to Albuquerque, and then I'm going to come back Monday and go right back to work.
Yeah.
For a couple thousand. It's like, it's good, but it's at the same time that's why I do the subscription site. So hopefully people can get my stuff and they can get it from there. but yeah, just seeing more traction with people trying to book you,
Okay.
people trying to, and sponsors come with that, different things come with that. And so it's been a good, like, as I've been growing, I'm able to pay off everything that I put money into,
Sure.
you know.
Sure. And two questions. Tell me about your gym. And I believe, does your wife train, or she works with you, but does she train
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu as well?
Yeah, so she took some time off. She had a heart arrhythmia, some stuff that just wasn't going right. And she's finally feeling better, and or not feeling better, but more has it more under control. So we've been drilling privately. We've been drilling privately and doing techniques and stuff. But she helps with my kids' classes sometimes. She's the front desk a lot. She's also figures out the way how much money we have and how to spend it and how to pay taxes and stuff.
Sure.
So like
CFO.
she's the pro there. But yeah, she's a blue belt. She's been a blue belt forever. But she just wasn't able to train. And I think in the beginning I made a mistake because I didn't have her coach, right? For some reason in my head, like it was like, well, okay, no, I'll coach. You do the front, so there's a clear distinction of what the roles are. And I didn't need to do that. Like that was an error on my part. Like where I could have had her coaching, I could have had her more involved in the classes, and it was just an error. You know, like you think like, well, people are going to see it in a different way. They're going to see like mom and pop, and it doesn't look professional. You know, so it's like it's not as. But then you look at everybody else in the jiu-jitsu game, and everybody else's wife is a jiu-jitsu player, and they're,
I wish.
you know, you know what I mean. Like so you go like I can't think, but I can think of like I'd never heard of her before, probably because but Wagner Hoch's daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She just went against John Davey.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know he even had a daughter, but obviously she's been training since the beginning.
Forever, since she's a little kid. Yeah.
And I think all Cyborg's wives have all trained. So
I don't think he's married now. I don't think he.
He's not married now, right? Yeah.
No, I don't even think they got married, but she's actually just got his last girlfriend or fiance just married somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's jiu-jitsu, man. That's jiu-jitsu in Florida.
Yeah. Did your wife start you? Did you meet her through jiu-jitsu? Was she already in jiu-jitsu, or did you get her into jiu-jitsu?
No, she didn't know anything. She didn't know anything about it, and I think that's the best way. Really, is it's just messy. It's messy when you meet people through the art. And
it could get messy if they're a student, right?
Yeah, I don't let my coaches date. I tell my coaches, like, you got one shot at love, you know, like,
and it's not going to be here.
You can try it. You can try to have, like, I'll let you have like one relationship, but really you're screwing up the gym. I mean, like you're utilizing your authority, right?
Yeah.
Because they look at you and they go, oh, he's a brown belt, and then it's like, and then they're talking to you. They were not talking to the white belts. You know what I mean? They're talking to you because you're the brown belt, and then you're using that authority to get something.
Yeah.
And nobody should feel like or if the person is a brown belt, they shouldn't feel like they have to be forced to talk to that person or partner with that person because of their rank or how they're viewed in the gym.
Sure.
And so, like, I try to make it as unmessy as possible.
Is there a strict rule? Is there a strict rule there? Like, do not date students. It's like they know, and if they do it,
do not date students.
Okay,
they've screwed around and done it anyways. But I mean,
I just hit my chair down.
Nothing's been like terrible, but like there was it's a pure like authority. It's a mistrust in authority.
There's a power dynamic there that you're taking advantage of, and you may not realize it in the moment. And I think sometimes people aren't just even doing it on purpose. They find themselves in that place. But
Right.
when it comes back to bite you in the ass, now you were the boss, right? You're essentially the boss or the manager of this place, and this is somebody that's working under you, training under you, and it does not look good when it comes back if there's a problem.
And we've seen all the stuff that's happened, and we've seen people, overstep their line, and coaches have said, and not to bring up any coaches because I can't speak on anything that I don't really know about, but they apologize to their wife. They're like, I shouldn't have done this, but it was consensual, right? And so they're saying it's consensual, and the other ladies are saying it was not consensual, right? And it's like, dude, look how bad you're fucking up. Like, you're fucking up so bad that you're like, you don't even realize that you're abusing power, that you are wrong. Like, yeah, you're wrong. Not only are you wrong to your wife, but you're wrong to your student, because there's a power dynamic there. And even if it was like, maybe there was uncomfortableness or there was some kind of something happened, if they felt like they needed to do it, that's an abuse of authority. And that's why the military kicks your butt out of the military for stuff like that.
Yeah, I think coaches have to also realize, like, this is a business, and if you have a problem with another student, I mean, it's the same as, like, I know the equivalent may not be exact, but let me say that, right? When you have a new student come in, a white belt, and then everybody's beating up on that white belt, like, they're not going to come back, right? You're screwing with the coach's business. I talk to my fellow students all the time, and I say, yeah, take it a little easy on the guy. You shouldn't be trying to rip a wrist lock. We had somebody the other day do this. It was like the kid's third class, and a purple belt was ripping like a wrist lock on this guy. I wasn't at the class. I heard the story later, but it was so much. It wound up in a chat, in one of the chats that I have with some fellow training partners. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just like, you're fucking with my business. So when somebody understands it, I may not only lose them, but I'm going to fire you. So now I lost a coach, a student, maybe two students and a coach. And I think sometimes I even know a story that a lot of people don't know about, and I won't go too deep into it, but where there was this is not at my school, just for the record, where the owner's son, the owner's son started dating a lot of girls in the gym, and that became a problem. But he's there, and he's a coach, and I believe he has a financial interest in the gym, and that gets around. Now I'm hearing it second, third hand, but even that, he's not realizing he's just being a guy, right? He thinks he's just being a guy. But there's a power dynamic even in a young teenage coach.
He knows it. He knows it.
You think?
Everybody knows it. You know when you're the peacock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know when you're the peacock. You know when you're the guy. You know when you're the guy that can smash everybody else's girlfriend or boyfriends. You know you're that guy.
Yeah,
and
I guess
you feel that, you get that push, and you're like, yeah, I'm the man. And then they use it to get girls, and it's like, that's not why jiu-jitsu was created. It's not why the gym was built for you to hook up with a bunch of chicks. It was to make people feel comfortable with themselves. It was to give them a healthy outlet. It was to give them self-defense. It was to give them a sport. It wasn't designed so that it was, especially in places like Top Team or things like that, where fighters are taking advantage of just regular students. It messes with the money, and somebody's going to leave the gym. And
do you ever have to have conversation with students? Do you ever have you see students starting to date?
I've had students come up to me after I've talked to one of my coaches, thinking that they were going to lay into me and be like, well, why you got to ask what's going on with him? It's like, because he's my coach. Number two, because it's not allowed.
No, I'm even. Let's take it further, though. I'm saying student with another student, right? Where students start dating each other. Have you ever had to step in the middle of that?
I try not to step too much involved in that. So, if I tell them, I say, listen, this is what I tell the guy. The lady is usually going to win. I said, so if you're in this relationship and you think like, hey, I really, really like this girl and I want to see where it goes, I'm not going to stop you. I'm just going to let you know that you're in it with a year contract. You're in a year contract with me. Number two, that women are can be so good at what they do is that if they break up with you, all they have to do is show a little bit of attention to somebody else, a little bit of attention to somebody else, and you're going to be in a whole nother world of hurt. And I'm like, you don't know what she could do to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to win this one.
Yeah.
Like if she unless she's being super sweet and just like a nice, and like if she wants to turn those screws in the unit there, all she's going to do is just hang out with a couple of your friends, and your friends are not going to say no, and then you're going to be sitting there on the outs going like, F this sucks, I want to quit. I'm going to go to a different gym. Because the girlfriend that you were digging is now just like they don't even have to like be flirtatious. They just have to be give another man attention, and it's going to drive you crazy.
For me, I was married up until recently. Of the 9 years that I trained, I started training after I met my ex-wife, so we were dating, living together. My rule for myself, just because I never wanted my wife to walk into the gym and be like, oh, look at you being all chummy with the girls. We have a heavy female presence in my gym, always have. Right. And if they want to roll with me, fine. I never really seek out unless it's like one of the really like tougher girls. It's just like, she's just really one of the guys anyway. She's like, kicking her asses. I just never got chummy with the girls. For me, it was that I never wanted my wife to walk in the gym and see girls like, oh, hey, Milton, give me, like I'm sure most of the girls in my gym are like, man, that guy's such an asshole. He doesn't even say hello. I just never wanted to get chummy because I was in that situation. Again, now I'm not with my wife anymore. But I still kind of feel that way. Like I feel like when you get too friendly, it comes off weird in the gym. We're in a very intimate sport. And then it just looks like you're hitting on them. It looks like you're up to something, especially if you go to, there's 20 guys and 20 girls on let's say 10 and 10, 10 guys, 10 girls on the mat. And then you go over and roll with the girls when there's plenty of guys to roll with like that. When I see that once in a while, I'm like, what are you doing? What about these guys over here? Why are you rolling with the girls? And we've even had like our male and female classes like in separate rooms in our gym. It's relatively big, I guess, for us. And our the owner's husband and wife team, both black belts, both third-degree black belts, she would have her own class with the girls. And sometimes we're together and sometimes we're apart. Right. But usually even when the girls are on our side, they put cones on the mat. And like this section is for the girls and then this is for the guys. And I look, as a father, I have daughters. I have a stepdaughter and my daughter. I kind of like that. And I tell people, like, if a woman asks me about training, I'm like, we have a really good school for that. If somebody asks me about MMA, I'm going to say, hey, I want to do jiu-jitsu and I want to fight in the cage. I say, go over to American Top Team. Like, I tell them the right place to go. I have a kid in this area. Like, okay, find a school that does this or that has a bullying program. But when it comes to, we have a great women's program. And again, that they're like, I would say like they're kind of protected. Like there's an eye on that, especially post, the BS, the fight sports shit that happened down here in South Florida. So I feel comfortable telling a woman like, yeah, come to our gym. We have a great program and your coach is going to be a woman. So it's a good thing. But for me, even to this day,
you don't want to tell them that they're not allowed to train with guys or they're not a valuable training partner.
Sure.
So everything just has to be handled in a correct manner. Cause I know that there's tons of girls in our gym that there's 3 or 4 guys that they love training with. Like they treat them well. They go hard, but not so hard that they're trying to hurt them or use their strength against them. It's a good match. So it's a difficult traverse.
Sure.
Boundaries.
I know I walk around anywhere from like 225 to 230 pounds. So like I'm usually not the right fit for a small girl. But if I've trained with girls and I've like, okay, I'll pull guard or I operate a little differently. But we've got some big guys in the class, and they're smart enough to know I'm not going to go roll with this, 135-pound woman. But I usually just leave it up to the girl. Like a lot of times it's like, oh, people have partnered up. I don't have a partner. There's a girl across the mat, and I'll know. I'll be like, yeah, she's an okay fit for me. Like she's more advanced. Or there's a girl in our school. Her name is Flo. She's tougher than some of the guys. Most of the time. I rolled with her last night. I even told her that. I'm like, yeah, you're my hardest roll most days. She is. She's just, the high level black belt. She's a brown belt, and she's competed, and she's on point. And she's tough, and she's half my age, So, but I enjoy when she seeks me out to roll. Like she came to me, and I was like, absolutely, I'm not going to turn her down. Let's go, let's do it. So, I mean that was just been my personal preference, and I've been told like, hey, you're overthinking it, but I don't, it makes me comfortable. And again, when I was married, it made me more comfortable to know again that my wife wasn't going to walk in, and see me like being all chummy with people or just rolling around with the girls. Like, really? I only saw you rolling with the girls today. What's going on? You don't tell me that when you come home, So
that's a bad day.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad night too, right?
Yeah.
So where are you coming to us from? You're on the East Coast?
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Tell everybody where your gym is.
Charleston, South Carolina, Black Label Martial Arts. I grew up here. I was born and raised. And then I just started like around 18, 19, I started getting into jiu-jitsu, and I wanted to fight. And so then I ended up going to like one school that was not too far from me in Hilton Head. And then I moved to Oregon where Team Quest was, and I ended up becoming roommates with Evan Tanner.
Okay.
Kind of followed around with him, went to Vegas. Then I moved to Philadelphia for a short time, and then landed in Florida. And then all the stuff started happening with my spine and stuff like that. I coached for a bit, and then Liborio was leaving top team, or at least he was going to Orlando, and I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. It's like there's so many factions that were in that gym that like your guy, if your guys, it's like your guy's getting out of, it's like a prison. You got different, you got your different gangs.
I've never heard anybody put it like that, but I get it.
Yeah, and your guy's getting out, and he's like, shit, I better get out too.
Oh wow!
So I got out and opened my gym in 2015, and been doing well. Been learning how to manage not just money, not just school, but like culture and atmosphere, and trying to get it to a point where I want it. And like in the beginning, I had a lot of like I almost adopted a school, like where school went out of business, and I gained a lot of followers from there. And then some of the people just weren't, I mean, they were nice, they just weren't right for the culture that I was trying to create. And then you always get the guys that you can't ever make happy. Like it doesn't matter what the hell you do, it doesn't matter how well you teach, they're just not going to be happy. They're just not happy people. And sometimes jiu-jitsu doesn't make you a better person. It makes you more quiet than you have ever been. When you're a white belt, purple, brown, and black, it amplifies who you already are.
Yeah.
Right. Because now you can swipe and you can do whatever you want, and you can have the ego and this and that. And so you see that kind of happen slowly when you start to belt people, that they change a bit, and you're like, oh dude, don't change. The reason why you got this belt is because of who you are.
Yeah.
Don't change it to some other person. And so right now we have a really good culture, and I feel good teaching my classes, and I feel good being around the people I'm around, and I feel good around the kids that I coach. So because I coach all my kids' classes.
Sure.
So that's like one thing that I think no like black belt owner does. But I love the kids. We win a ton of tournaments. We have like, I think we're like an unbeaten streak right now of like nine wins.
Nice.
In different cities. Yeah. So I really love teaching the kids. I like teaching the adults too, but
yeah,
it's always I think the kids is more rewarding than anything else. Not to say I don't love teaching adults. I love teaching adults. I love teaching higher level stuff. Um, the kids are always genuine with their
You
actions.
know where you
So
stand with a kid, right?
yeah, exactly. When they're happy, they're happy. When they're sad, they're sad. When they're upset, they're upset. But there's no like, oh, like the belt stuff, like where everybody's like, you kind of like get wind of what's going on with people, because you hear like, oh, well, this person's wondering when they're going to get their blue belt, and like they've been talking about it a bunch, and you're like, just shut up, like
Do you make them wait
relax.
longer? Honestly, do you make them wait a little longer when they start asking?
If they've ever asked, if they ask me, it's 6 months. So
Okay.
I had 6 months to whatever I thought I was going to give it to them. I've done that before, yeah.
That's a lot of
And
time.
it's a lot.
That's a lot of time if they were about to get it, if they were like scheduled to get it when they don't realize it. I've never asked. I as a matter of fact, I asked my coach to wait only because I was my first coach's first student. I trained with him from the time that he opened his. We traded marketing, so like I traded marketing for lessons, and I was like his only student in the beginning. So I was like going to class for 2 hours like every day, and basically getting a one-on-one most days. And then students started to come in. So I got my belt relatively quickly. I wanted to compete. He was going to give me my belt like before Christmas, and I said, "Hey, there's a tournament. I want to compete. I want to do my first tournament," and it was in January. And I said, "Can you push the promotion until after I do this? Let me compete once at white belt, because then I would have been at blue."
Right.
So I want to try this. Let me try it at white belt. So I asked him to push it off, and he did. So then I wound up getting my belt really at like my 7th month right after that competition, which I did well at it. And I felt like I deserved it. I didn't understand that like a lot of gyms would. Some gyms would be 1 or 2 years at white belt. But I was really legitimately helping him coach, training 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, going to open mats, traveling to open mats with him to see his friends and doing an open mat. So I was like, really got into this like heavy. I tell people I loved jiu-jitsu before I even got on the mat, because I was such a UFC fan. I'm like, I got to learn this part. And I just loved it day one. I knew before I even got on the mat. And I had wrestled a little bit, so I kind of, in junior high, so I kind of knew what I was getting into a little bit. I wasn't like afraid of being on a mat and having somebody grab me.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
No. So I mean, you can definitely get, if you are spending 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day training, you can get good pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like for me, like, so my usually it's 2 years for me. Because I feel like the blue belt is more important than any other belt. And I feel like a lot of other gyms, they put the blue belt as the least important. Oh, he's just a blue belt. It's like, yeah, because you gave the guy a blue belt, not you, because you've been training 2 hours every day, but you gave the guy a blue belt who's been training 3 days a week, 1 hour, 1 hour a day at 8 months or 9 months, or the guy's not a good blue belt. I mean, maybe he'll grow into it. He's better than a beginner white belt, but like, my idea of a blue belt should be, no matter what age you are, no matter what size you are, if a person comes in and has no collegiate, or let's say state champion or collegiate level wrestling, you should be able to dominate that person, because they don't know jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And if you think, you say, okay, the blue belt means I know jiu-jitsu, so that means I can submit them, I can hold them down, I can get dominant position, and you're 40 and the guy's 19, you should still be able to do that. Yeah, of course he's going to be stronger, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's how I feel. And then also, I want to see judgment. I want to see people make choices in the middle of their grappling that are smart choices. You know what I mean? Like, not just like, they have to be able to chain together their choices of what they're doing, and see them actively making corrections to what they're doing. Because past blue, purple is like, means that you're good at jiu-jitsu. Like, that's how I look at it. I mean, blue says you know jiu-jitsu, purple means you're good at jiu-jitsu, and then brown is just like the beginning of learning how to be a black belt. And so there's, when people use the blue belt, and then blue belts come over to us and they get just mollywopped by our white belts. It's because there's a standard for that, and I would rather have them quit as a white belt than them quit as a blue belt. You know what I mean? It's also extremely hard because people are having babies, getting married during all of this time. So it's difficult. It's difficult to keep somebody there for 5 years.
Yeah.
In one place.
I didn't move out of my area. My wife and I were looking for a house, and we wound up buying a house. And a huge part of that was I didn't want to be too far. I lived in a development behind the school that I'm in now. He's actually moved within the shopping center, but I've been going to the same gym. I found him after my original gym closed, which was close. And then I was just like, I don't want to drive. And oh, wow, there's a jiu-jitsu gym here. It was a fight sports location at the time. And I was like, oh, this is great. It's not anymore. Then when after being there for 4 or 5 years, and then we start looking for a house, I'm like, I don't want to move out of the area. This is like important. These are my friends.
Right.
There's like, some of these people like start to become like family. And, I don't want to switch to another gym. It had nothing to do with the belts, and my wife was doing kickboxing in the area as well, just like call it dance fighting, like the I Love Kickboxing type places. But she fell in love with her place, and she had her really close friends and things like that. So it was why we stayed in the area, and I still am. I moved again, and I'm still like literally just a couple of minutes away from the gym, if that. It just becomes a huge part of your life, and you don't want to be jumping around. One of the reasons I even go to your point about, the amount of training, like, kind of on the cusp. Black belt could be at any point now in my near future.
Right.
And, I've definitely, like in the last 6 months, kicked up my training because in my mind, I'm like, wow, this is getting close. I want to earn it. I don't want to be a 3-day, and I've been a 3-day, again, I'm an older guy, business, family. Yeah. I've been a three day a week guy, 1 hour a day, and I know those times. And I've also been, again, 2 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. So I've definitely kicked up my training because I want to know that I've earned it. I don't want anybody to look at me and be like, oh, well, he's hardly ever here. He got a black belt, and I just love the sport. I mean, I just love it. I mean, there's no place that I'd rather be than at the gym. Doing this or being at the gym are my two favorite places. So let's go back to talk about a little bit. You mentioned MMA. You've actually coached. Did you coach MMA at ATT? Did you coach some fighters?
Yeah, I did.
Who were some of the fighters that you coached, that you worked with?
I worked with Kimbo.
Okay.
So Kimbo was probably the biggest name that I worked with. And he's kick-ass Kimbo. Love it.
I heard you talk about it. So this was from he had a fight down here. What was the Showtime organization? It was before
Elite XC.
When it was Elite XC, he fought in South Florida. I don't know if you were with. I think the person that he wound up fighting was like a replacement.
It was the guy who knocked out Seth
Petrozelli.
I want to say it's Seth Petrozelli.
Is that it? I think he had like red hair. Was he supposed to? Did he fight Tank Abbott, or did Kimbo fight Tank Abbott?
He did fight Tank Abbott at some point.
Maybe, I don't know if that. I think that's the one. I think this was the one. It was like down in Miami. And I actually worked for a production company, nothing to do with MMA, but they got tickets and they gave me the tickets. And when I heard you talk about it on the podcast, I was like, I know where this is. So I dug this out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They gave, it was like I don't know, I want to say it's his coming out part. I don't know if that was his first like real MMA fight. That might have been. And they had these were like on every seat when you walked in. So it was like they were really trying to push him. Yeah. So I had that. I dug that out.
He was an awesome guy, man. If he would have gotten in MMA a little bit sooner, it would have been very, very interesting because he also liked jiu-jitsu. That's the crazy thing. He wasn't like, I worked with a ton of guys that were very, very good at what they did and didn't want to learn anything else about the sport. Like in order for me to teach you how not to get caught in an arm bar, I have to show you how to do an arm bar.
Yeah.
So when I show you how to do an arm bar, like, because I'm telling you like, hey, an arm bar is going to happen. There's going to be a foot on the hip, And so like I walk them through the different things. I show them what makes it tight. And then I got to show them how to deconstruct it. So I got put in a lot of charge for a lot of wrestlers to show them how not to get caught in submissions. Some guys were awesome. Some guys were just jerks. There's just some guys that are like they want the quick pill, and I'm giving them the quick pill, but I got to show them first what things they got to look out for, and how, like, if you're gonna learn how to do get out of a guillotine, I'm going to show you how to do a guillotine, because that's going to help you understand how to deconstruct everything, right? Like the angles, everything, the way they're crunching their body. How are you going to get their arm up in the air? How are you going to start attacking the grips? So I worked with Scoggins, the 125 one champion, Jared Brooks.
Okay.
Some of the Urbina brothers. I mean, I was always kind of like scattered. Like, so, like, I worked with Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
To tell you a guy who was so good at grappling and knew so little jiu-jitsu but it just didn't matter. Like I remember like Liborio telling me, like, hey, work on hip escapes with him. I'm like,
with Romero?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I work on hip escapes. That was during I believe the Tim Kennedy fight. Maybe it was after, but it was for the Tim Kennedy fight, I think. And I thought for sure that Tim Kennedy would have submitted him, like, if it went to the ground. But I mean, Yoel was just a monster. That's the truth of it. Like he may not know what he's doing in jiu-jitsu, but he's not gonna get submitted.
Well, he had that wrestling pedigree, though, right? I mean, that was the big thing. So he can somewhat handle himself with, takedowns and some groundwork, but maybe, jiu-jitsu wasn't his forte.
Jiu-jitsu wasn't his forte. Being on his back was his forte.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's always the guys that, like, I shortly worked with Joe Schilling, and I would say that, like, I'm not even sure if he would even remember this, because I remember I didn't really follow kickboxing too much, right? So I didn't know that he was special, So I didn't treat him special. I was just like, okay, working with him, showing him some stuff, and then he went to the adult jiu-jitsu class, and he was trying to do jiu-jitsu with them. So he was like he was actually trying to do jiu-jitsu with other jiu-jitsu people. He's losing to basic, it's my dog. Hey,
that's
Layla,
okay.
Come on. Lay down. Stop whining. So he was losing to these guys, just like regular Joe Schmoes. And no care about it, just trying actual jiu-jitsu moves that he was just taught. And I'm like, hey man, if you stick with this, you can be really good one day. And I'm like, and then later I'm like looking up like different things, and something comes along that it's like Joe Schilling's a part of American Top Team, and I'm like, holy crap. I'm like talking to this guy. Like I thought he was just like a
schmo off the street,
maybe a semi-pro that they gave me, like, hey, help him out a little bit, work on some stuff with him. And I'm like, and I'm nice and everything. And he was a great student. And then he went into the adult class, and I'm like, man, this guy really wants to get better, because his ground game isn't good, but he's working on it. And I gave him a good pat on the back and said, hey, good luck in your career. I think he'll do really well. And I didn't know that he was
already killing it in kickboxing, right?
Yeah, of course. He's the man.
Yeah.
So
fun,
those moments.
That's a good lesson into, like, you never know. Once you start training in martial arts, I think you have a lot more respect. Like, if anybody that starts fights or, gets in the fight, like, you have a lot more respect and, like, probably a little bit more quiet. You lose the ego a little bit, because you just never know who you're talking. Like, if I can do this, I don't know that guy's not training somewhere, right? I look at Joe. I think Joe Schilling's the guy that knocked out the guy in the bar that, like, got in his face a little bit, right? That's Joe, right? That guy had no clue who Joe Schilling was, and look, put him on his ass. And good for Joe. He got. I think they found him innocent of those charges, right?
Yeah.
So good for him. But yeah, that's a good lesson right there, man.
Hit him first.
Yeah, he did, right. He gave him one of these, like, hey, like,
Yeah.
Wrong
Yeah,
guy.
don't do that. That's a bad idea.
Even I mean that was a stupid move because I mean you still see like he's not like a small guy. I think he was taller than that guy, and he's like
Much
obviously
bigger.
looks in shape. And this guy still did, he didn't think he was going to get anything back. But yeah, that's kind of funny. So hey, listen, let's move into we're going to do we do these questions that like a lot of people give us like the same questions when we ask for questions online. So we do this and we call this the
drill down.
There's my sound effects guy. All right, so we used to call it a speed round. It's no longer a speed round. You can elaborate on any of these things, but I'll just ask like the most common questions that we get from people. So we just wind up asking every guest these same questions. All right, so gi or no gi, what's your preference?
Gi.
Okay, takedown or pull guard?
Man. That's a hard one. It's a hard one. Listen, I like winning takedowns, but I'm not great at takedowns.
Yeah.
So it's like would I rather see somebody pull guard and start action right away, or would I rather see two heavyweights push each other around the mat for 30 minutes? I would rather see somebody pull guard and start jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. For me, I'm a guard puller. I'm not ashamed to say it. Most of the time, it's because I'm usually bigger than the person, and if I try to take them down, even though I'm not the best at takedowns, if I fall on top, I'm going to hurt them. I'm usually not doing it because I'm protecting the other person. I don't compete a lot, so I don't, or I haven't competed in years, so I'm not necessarily like training for that. My training isn't so that I can go compete with other people. My training is for me, and I've also got to wake up in the morning and go to work. So I feel like that. Like we talked about the scrambles, I feel like that's where people get hurt. So I'm usually going to pull guard, and a lot of it's because I'm usually the bigger guy. Music during rolling, yes or no?
No.
No music playing in the gym at all?
So people will turn music on, and I'm cool with that. I'm not in control of that. If somebody wants to hook their phone up to the Bluetooth, that's fine. But generally, you shouldn't be thinking too much. Like music shouldn't be too much of a part of your training. Like you're getting, people are trying to beat you up, man. Like, people are trying to win this rolling matches with you. So I don't know how you can concentrate on what music's going on. Like I'm so dialed in when I'm doing anything. I'm not listening.
For me, the music gets me more dialed in. It's for almost anything that I'm doing. Like it just, it turns off my internal dialogue, like so that I'm not thinking about work or I'm not thinking about other things. And it's like I sleep with a little noise machine.
Me too.
It turns off the other thinking and I'm focusing on the sound, right? So it's almost the same thing when I'm rolling music for me. And then I just, again, I'm not doing it to compete or be in a WNO. So it's just like, it's also kind of like fun. And every once in a while, like somebody puts something on and then like the most inappropriate song will come on. Whether it's just something silly or a kid song or like Baby Shark, anything like that. Yeah. I think those are funny, and I'll start to sing them to my partner, and just like to just play around with them a little bit. If you did control the music, what's your go-to? What kind of music do you listen to?
I mean, rap is always going to be kind of like rap is the ego music, right?
Sure.
So rap is great ego music. And it helps you get pumped up and make you feel like you're the best person on earth, right? Yeah. Because that's basically all rap says. I'm number one. I'm the best. But I also really like 90s alternative. So 90s alternative, something like that. I let whoever wants to put the music on, I'm fine with.
Sure.
I'm not thinking.
Now you got a Black Label shirt on. That's the name of your gym.
Do. Yes.
Is it any relation to, and I'm not a big rock guy, but like Black Label Society or something, right? Isn't there like a rock group or something like that?
No.
No relation. No, there was no intended relation.
No, I used to skate, and there was a Black Label skateboards.
Okay.
And Mike Vallely used to skate for them, and I was obsessed with some of his skating videos, or when skating was popular, they had like highlights of like a DVD. And so that's probably where it came into my brain and just stuck. Sure. And I was like, well, that's a good name, So
that's how it happens. There you go.
That's how it happens.
We talked about like your life is consumed by jiu-jitsu. the videos, the social media,
Yeah.
the seminars. Are you like a consumer of some of those same things? Are you on social media watching other people's stuff? Are you watching the WNOs? Are you watching, Flow Grappling? Any of that stuff?
No.
No.
That's the crazy thing. I don't look at anybody's social media.
Really?
I don't look at anybody's social media really. I have some friends that I really like on social media
Sure.
that if they pop up, I'll take a look at it. Maybe there's some things in me that I don't like to. So like a writer can't read books a lot of times because then it's almost like you take like you're stealing
yeah.
from them, and because you're doing it unconsciously, but you're kind of stealing from them, and you're a creator yourself, so you don't want to really steal from other creators. You want your own stuff on it. And so if I look at too much of somebody else's stuff, I'm going to lean towards what they do and
Sure.
So yeah, I try not to look at too much stuff unless it's something that I'm learning. So like if I'm learning a position and I'm getting better, I'll look at that. But just flipping through different people's stuff, I know who's good. There's some really good guys out there, and I know who's good, and I know who I would like to watch. But I got so much time doing my own stuff that if I start to look at their stuff, what the hell am I going to do? The matches sometimes I watch later.
Sure.
I'm a play-by-play guy first, so I read the play-by-play and then I'll watch. It's like I wanted to watch Marigali and Duarte, but I heard it was an awful match, so I'm glad I didn't watch it. It was Duarte faking takedowns the entire time. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Play-by-play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah, it makes sense. I do that with the UFC a lot of times. I do try to catch the events. I missed this weekend, and I was just like, I messaged a buddy. I'm like, is this worth watching? Should I, am I waiting? Do I buy this pay-per-view the next day, or should I wait? And he was just like, no, it was good, but you could probably wait. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And then the UFC for the first time put like the whole main event. I mean, not the main event, the main card. They put, even though it was 2 rounds, they put the whole thing on their YouTube. I don't think they've ever done that, where they put the actual like the championship fight on YouTube right after it. So
probably because there's poor pay-per-views.
He and I discussed. I said, or he said, maybe it's. I think that they're really trying. They feel like. I'm almost going to say Sugar Shane, because this guy said Sugar Shane before. Sugar Sean, I think he said maybe that they're really trying to push him. They believe that he's going to hold this belt for a while, and they wanted to, they want to get, extend the fan base. And then
right.
Maybe it's all over the internet 5 minutes after anyway. So maybe at least they can control that, and people are going to repost their stuff, and then they get the following and so on. So who knows? But yeah, I do exactly what you just said too. Sometimes I'll be like, is it worth me watching? Should I just catch the highlights? Yeah, man.
Too much to consume. I watched the UFC, the last one, and it was good.
Yeah,
it wasn't great.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what they're doing to us now with UFC. They're giving us so much rather than putting together a great UFC card, a pay-per-view. They're putting together 1 or 2 good fights, and then other good fights, but those should be free. The other fights should be on the fight night, and some of the fight night headlines should be on the pay-per-view.
I mean, that's the way it happens, right? Sometimes the younger guys, the guys that are coming up sometimes, or a lot of times, just like the women fight, sometimes they just feel like they have more to prove, and they're better fights.
I mean, look at what we're getting over in Australia. Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Nothing taken away from Sean Strickland. He could win that fight. Guaranteed. He could win that fight. He could knock him out. But Sean Strickland's ranked number 5. Right? So you have the champion fighting a ranked number 5. And because you needed Adesanya in Australia. So it's like, that's what happens when you don't make a big enough card. Is that you get the main event, and you're like, the main event's kind of like, well, Adesanya is a plus, is a negative 300, and you shouldn't have fights like that as main events where a guy is so favored in the fight. And I mean, they should have packed the card better.
Yeah. I think I'm not the biggest Strickland fan, only because I'm not big on the talkers. Like I'm not. I want to see them do it on the mat, and I don't know.
I think he's genuinely crazy. So there you go. I mean, like I don't think you can do anything about it. Like,
I mean, he actually got. I mean, he actually got famous when he was Orlando, the guy that passed away. I forget his full name. Orlando Sanchez. They were gonna grapple, and he gave him a little of this, like Strickland kind of had a little bit of an underhook, and he gave him this, and he caught his hand, and then Strickland kicked him, and they got into a little bit of a scrap, and then the guys broke. That's what really made him. He was training for a UFC fight, but that's what made him popular. People like, they found that, and then that took off, and then people started watching him, hearing the crazy shit that he had. I feel like they've moved him because he's been a talker, not because he's been the best fighter. I mean, that's my opinion.
I forget who he. I mean, I think he just dispatched one of the guys they thought was going to beat him.
Yeah, who was
Magomedov guy?
Yeah, was that guy of like a last minute replacement though? Didn't he come in as a replacement towards the end, like 2 weeks out?
Undefeated.
Okay.
PFL.
Okay. But I still think But I still think that wasn't a scheduled fight. I think he still was a replacement. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Listen, I don't know. It seems like Sean Strickland fights a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
It seems so. When he said he wasn't going to be fighting Adesanya, I knew he was going to be fighting Adesanya. That fight's not going to happen. It's like, yeah, dude, you're a fighter, and like he says, he's a prize fighter. He fights for money, and they're going to offer him just enough that he's going to say yes.
Yeah.
There's really no other fights in the middleweight division.
I'm going to watch. You know what? That fight's more appealing to me though, from like, so like, I don't have like, that guy's my favorite fighter, but I have fighters that I don't like. Like in boxing, I don't like Mayweather, and I've watched every Mayweather fight because I'm waiting to see him get his ass knocked out. And, I don't know the guy, and I'm not, Sean Strickland. I don't, other than just like seeing the crazy shit that he says, I'm going to tune in because I want to see him get knocked out. That's me. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. And and this is coming from someone who I don't like Adesanya because he's a talker as well. He just talks so much shit. So I'm usually I like the guys that are a little bit more reserved and, do it in the ring. I don't like John Jones with all the bullshit. I don't like Conor McGregor because of all the talking. I wind up, I thank God I'm not a bettor, but I'm usually rooting against them and they always win anyway though, So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a certain amount of confidence you got to have. And then you see Sean, or not Sean, you see, God dang it, Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
And what Chael Sonnen's done is sounded like the most pro wrestling, I guess the most fake things you can ever say, right? Like he even says it with a fake voice, and it got him championship fights.
Yeah.
And then you see Colby Covington, who's probably getting paid by Dana White just for saying things right now and not even fighting. He's not even fighting right now, and he's being guaranteed a welterweight title shot in England against Leon, right? That's what they're saying. Yeah. It almost goes against you for not having an opinion on your opponent.
It's a business, like we talked about. It's a business, and that makes for a good fight or more eyeballs, and right. They wind up, whether or not the fight's going to be good, it happens. Yeah. If it gets you the fight, it gets you the fight. What am I going to say? Good for them. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. So.
But look what happened to Masvidal. Masvidal got into a fight backstage, said one line, 3-piece in a soda.
Yeah.
Right, and then all of a sudden he's wearing like Gucci velour, Scarface.
Yeah.
Stuff. Look, he fell into that, like all of a sudden they're going to give him like what, Street Jesus?
Yeah,
that's what they call him.
Yeah.
And so it's like if he would have walked away from that, like that version of himself, he would not be getting paid what he was getting paid.
Yeah, and look, he's got his own organization, and I think they air it on Fight Pass too. Dana White's been really great about getting his, I would call them like the minor leagues to what the UFC is, right? Khabib has like Eagle FC, right? And I think that aired on Fight Pass, and now he's Masvidal's organization is airing on Fight Pass. So, look, again, it's eyeballs. We're in a world where it's all about the eyeballs and how many people are following you and how many people are tuning in. So, well, all right. So I've got a couple of more questions for you, and then we're going to let you go. These will be short. So we have, let's say we talked about fighting. Who's your favorite competitor to watch, BJJ or MMA?
So I answered this a while back. So I really like the Diaz brothers, jiu-jitsu and boxing. My favorite MMA fighter ever was Joachim Hansen from Pride Days.
Okay.
So if you don't know him, just look up one highlight, and he's the man.
Yeah.
He's probably the most ferocious guy. Great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu, great striking. Came from Norway. And he fought a bunch of the best fight to watch is probably Eve Edwards, Aminari, Cal Uno. This was back in the day. And I would say jiu-jitsu wise, I really like watching. Unfortunately, I liked watching Leandro Lo. So I never missed like a Leandro Lo match because I love watching scrambles. I love watching him come up for like a sweep in the last 30 seconds, and steal the match. I think the Ruotolo brothers are probably going to be my next choice of guys that I really, really, really enjoy watching their matches.
Super fun. They're the reason I'm starting to tune into to ONE FC now.
Right.
On watching them on Prime. I love. They're on every major card now. So they're super fun to watch, man. Those scrambles and just the way they move. It's like, how do they do that? I couldn't even imagine doing that at 19. I couldn't imagine doing it now, but I couldn't even imagine doing it as a young guy. It's like, Jesus, how do you not break every, joint, rip every ligament, doing some of the things they do?
No, I think they're on another level, and we'll see what happens. But their instructionals are better than most other people's instructionals.
Okay.
And it's like, so these guys are like, they're operating at a very, very high level, like at a very young age. Maturity wise, like so like you think about it like a basketball player, like what's their basketball IQ? Like what's their IQ? Their jiu-jitsu IQ is so high that they're able to do some things that I don't think other people are able to do because other people don't fully understand it.
Built-in training partner, right? From birth. To go home, you go to the gym and train, and then go home and you're training with your brother. I've seen some of their stuff in their garage, and they really go at it, and they're amazing. Yeah, man. All right, our very last question: do you or do you not wash your jiu-jitsu belt?
I don't wash it
ever.
And
now, why?
I'm the black belt. I don't get.
But even before that, at your lower belts, you never washed them.
Never.
No. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like I kept it out of the wash. I always left my belt in the car.
Okay.
So, I would take my geared stuff in, and my belt would always stay in the car because that's the one thing that doesn't change.
So there's not the my mojo is in the belt, or the blood and the sweat of all of my fallen opponents is in my belt. It's not because of any of that stuff.
You could say that. It's kind of a funny
the old school. It's the old school reasoning.
I would have, I have several belts.
Sure.
I have my first black belt, which is in shreds, so it's 10 years old, a 10-year-old belt, and then I have my other belt that I don't know when I got it. It just goes up as soon as I'm done. I hang it up. It goes. I have like a little hook in my gym. I just put it on the hook, and that's it.
Okay.
And sure, one day something will happen to that belt, or it'll tear, or something will happen, and I'll buy a new belt. But I'm not going to wash it because fuck.
You might
who
show up to
cares?
the gym one day and that thing is walking around training on its own.
Yeah, there we go. Listen,
So-
I never understood it. Like if I create a new disease, then I create a new disease. I mean, like, it's like,
The 20th COVID variant coming off your belt.
yeah, and everybody can point at me and be like, "This guy didn't want to clean his belt," and then maybe I'll get some more followers.
There you go. All right. So listen, Malachy, thank you so much for doing this. Let me give you a minute. Do you have anybody at your work? Yeah, we didn't talk about BioPro. You're also working with BioPro.
I am on that.
Yeah. Do you love it? Tell me what you think.
It's working a lot for me, man. Like, so aside from the facts that I'm feeling better, like I'm feeling more like rejuvenated when I wake up. I'm feeling like usually I wake up at like 10:30, right? So I'm waking up at 8:30 in the morning now and not feeling like I want to go right back to sleep.
Sure.
My hair started growing again. So if you see here, I have,
Really?
like a mullet growing.
Yeah.
Like my hair did not grow forever. It just stopped like right there. And I've been pairing that with physical therapy. So luckily I paid off my deductible. So I have physical therapy and I feel like I'm getting stronger faster.
Sure.
Like it's not steroids, but it's damn good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
I'm just about to finish my second box. I'm also taking the nighttime. I don't know if you do the nighttime as well.
I do the night. Yeah. I'm religious. I don't because if I feel like something's working,
Can't stop.
You don't. Why would you stop and test it out? Because I'm actually having improvements in my health. I'm able to train more. I'm having less painful days. My physical therapy is going faster and I'm feeling better quicker. So yeah, the bioprotein is like, people ask me, is this for real? I'm like, yeah, it's for real. I mean, I don't know what you're looking to have happen for you, but you still got to have a healthy diet. You still got to work out.
Yeah.
You still got to try to do these things, but having that little bit of extra kick, that little bit of extra help is, you take it, especially if you've been an athlete, you know how hard it is to get your recovery. I'm on it. I've been on it for 4 months and I'm probably never coming off of it.
Yeah, man. This is like I said, I'm about to finish my second box. I got to place another order. I definitely, I'm not ashamed to say, again, 50 years old. I was looking for something not only to help me out in the gym and like, hey, I just don't put on muscle as much. I feel like I work out as much as I did before and I don't see the results. But what I saw pretty quickly was sex drive increased. I definitely feel like I'm seeing better results in the gym. And a big thing that I've been talking about forever on the show, way before I even heard of BioPro, was like the brain fog and like recall, like trying to remember words or the name of somebody, especially doing this. I'd be like, and I got the computer in front of me and I could look something up, but that's gotten better. That's gotten better. And I'm more comfortable just, having a conversation and remembering something. Again, at 50, that was like a huge concern. I'm like, what's going on? And it's just, this is normally what happens, right? You start to, forget things, right? So those are the things that it's helped me with. So like, I can't see myself not taking it. I don't see a time where I'm like, I feel like it works and I'm going to continue. I actually had somebody call me recently and he asked me, and I was like, hey, Mo, is this for the show or you really like, is this working? I'm like, dude, honestly, I flow and roll. I wear their shirts. Feito IT, like he's my IT guy. He put in the security system in my house. Like I'm actually working with the people that sponsor us, and this is like something that I don't think that I would stop. I was like, I gave him the thumbs up
with that stuff too. Like I'm really careful with who I partner with and what I because then nobody trusts you later.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing is that if I wasn't seeing results, then I'm not going to say anything. Like I'm not going to talk poorly about it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to continue it.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for, just to get, like, why would I just get he gives me the supplements. Why would I just say like, hey, I don't want the supplements?
Yeah. Well, it's consistency too, right? You have to be consistent with it. You've got to take it. And like you said, you've got to be working on it. You can't just take this and it's just like, oh, I'm seeing these amazing results. Maybe it would help with the brain fog and maybe with sex drive.
Right.
But if you want to improve your physical appearance and you want to get better and stronger, you've got to be doing things that are going to make you get better and stronger, right? It's not going to build muscle without building muscle. So
Right.
yeah, I'm a fan. I'm going to keep on taking it, and I hope they're working with us for a really long time. So, okay, so I interrupted there. I was saying, do you have anybody else that you want to shout out besides BioPro?
No, so BioPro has been amazing to me. They've been taking care of me. Gameness takes care of me. I think I'm happy with working with Gameness, because for my brain, how old I am is Gameness has been around forever.
Yeah, I remember seeing them on. They sponsor a lot of. They were sponsoring a lot of the organizations early on, right? They were. I don't know if did they have their own event at one point.
I feel like it was something else. It was Casa Grossa was an event.
Okay.
And I think they were tied together with them.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm with Gameness. I love their stuff, and I love the attitude and the mindset behind it. Like that fits me much better than. And I've turned down I've always turned down like different sponsors and stuff like that because it just didn't fit my mindset of my brand of who I am. And then there's, I don't know, myself, madlabbjj.com.
I was gonna say, tell everybody remind everybody where your gym is, and give me your Instagram handle as well.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Malachy Friedman. That's hard to find out. It's MALACHYFRIEDMAN. And then my gym is in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm teach there every day. So I'm not like one of the other schools that where the guy's got his name on the building, but he's never home.
Gotcha.
So if they ever want to visit me, I take anybody that wants to come in, train, anything like that, they're more than welcome.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. The Jiu-Jitsu Dummies would like to congratulate Neutral Zone Clean on the release of their newest product, a healthy and pH-balanced bar soap that's perfect for anyone looking to take care of their skin. This soap is made with all natural ingredients that help nourish and restore your skin's natural barrier. It contains glycerin, which naturally attracts moisture to itself in the skin, leaving it feeling soft and hydrated. The new bar soap also contains a blend of olive, coconut, and castor oils and shea butter, which are rich in vitamins, nutrients, essential fatty acids, and antioxidants that help fight harmful bacteria. With tea tree and other natural ingredients, it also helps in the prevention of fungal infections. Not only is it effective, but it also leaves your skin feeling fresh and lightly scented. It's gentle enough for even the most sensitive skin, making it a perfect choice for the whole family. Be sure to check out their website, neutralzoneclean.com, for a range of all-natural products including sprays, wipes, and shower gels, and use code JJD for 15% off your order. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Very cool. All right. Like I said, don't hang up. Let me just say goodbye to everybody here, and we're going to take some pictures. But you can check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. My personal IG, you can reach out to me there as well as Uncle Milty BJJ. Bo, which handle do you want to give him? Handy_wisdom. Bo does some really cool comedy. It's kind of funny. So check it out. And I was actually thinking about we got to do something where I'm interviewing you, but I was thinking about like wrist locks, like that he's gonna he's running an anti-wrist locking campaign. All right, everybody, thank you for watching and listening. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu. Us.